Let me switch pod. The
Yes,
boys are
sir.
back.
Yes, sir.
The boys are back.
Ah,
How are you, Chris?
yeah, yeah. Oh, kudos. Look, good Easter weekend. Unfortunate about the results, but we good. We good over here, man. How you doing? How you doing, bro?
Good myself, good myself. The Dan Carters of
Hmm.
podcasting here to give you our opinions, our flagrant takes, and of course, feel free
Yeah,
to share yours. Church announcements. You can follow us. You can find us here, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and
yeah,
yeah. I think let's go with news before we go into the European round that was where we were on the other side of the broom this time. Um,
yeah,
I think the biggest news is that Papier. It's kind of been stated that if he's not involved in
yeah,
box setup, then and also that national player of interest kind
yeah,
of thing, which is not just the an alignment camp or two. It's you must be fully in the mix. Then it looks like
yeah.
he's going to be on his way, which is also, I mean, it's like it's kind of it's you're giving a real ultimatum here.
Yeah, that's the feel that I got as well. Just like, hey, you gotta pick this guy or else, he's going, and I think it's almost like strong arming SA Rugby to give full clarity on where he sits,
Yeah.
or what the picture is. I guess, So it's a bit of a tricky one. But you understand, the Bulls they're running out of the gold money, I suppose, and it will be difficult for them to keep paying him. But yeah, look, it'll be
Yeah,
interesting to see how it develops.
I think it's just it's I think it's more on his side where it's like I'm clearly not in the fold, so
Yeah,
let me go make even more money than I'm making right now.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm sure maybe it's time for him to learn some Japanese there
I think
or
so. Hey,
some French.
yeah, I think so. Look, look. If I was him, I'd also be looking to, greener pastures and trying to get, to cash in as much as possible because we
Yeah.
all know professional athletes, especially rugby, it can be a short career. Others are lucky to have long careers. So, have to maximize as much as you can. And unfortunately for him at the moment, yeah, there's so many players, especially in his position, that are going around,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's a tough one, man. Although he's been very good for the Bulls.
Yeah, I think moving on to the weekend that was in Europe, my beloved Lions get a rest. But I think let's start with the most interesting uh
Yeah,
fixture. For
Stormers.
me, Stormers versus Toulon it was box office to me.
Yeah,
It had the feel of a Super Rugby game. It felt like we were
yeah,
playing a New Zealand team again. And it was, the settings as well out there, in France, the stadium, it just had a very good vibe to it. And entertainment factor, which for me, a lot of the time, like, especially in watching other teams that you don't support or
yeah.
just in URC in general, sometimes the entertainment factor can be lacking.
Yes.
Against French opposition here, it definitely wasn't.
No, it wasn't lacking. And watching that one, I just couldn't help but think to myself, all these guys in Europe that were saying, no, South Africa doesn't contribute so much to the European tournament and whatnot. That game, I think for me, was one of the games where it showed that, there's a positive contribution that
Yeah.
that our franchises have on the Champions Cup. And I mean, ultimately at the end there, if I'm being honest, I feel like it looked to me like the Stormers, they were hard done by the decisions,
Yeah, but of
but
favoritism.
also, yeah, but also, they could have just gone for a drop goal, just to steal that thing at the end, maybe,
I saw that comment, and Sasha came out and said, like, maybe it should have been an option, but it's not as easy. Like he basically said,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not,
yeah,
we're not playing PlayStation. It's not as easy as
sure,
you. And for one to, I mean, in that scenario, that's kind of one of the things that people will say, "Oh, go for drop." But actually watching it, they had them on the ropes.
yes, they did,
So I would
and I
also,
believe they scored.
I also believe they scored. So I would also say, like, you can't just say 80th minute, just go for the drop goal, because
Yeah,
like
not
on watching it. they did the right thing.
Yeah, yeah. They had them. They had them. And I look, I mean, hindsight, obviously. You know what I mean? Where you're looking at it to say, hey, to make it clear cut, and nobody by no uncertain terms are we saying that it's easy. It is just the option was there,
Yeah,
and look, it was tough for them, but what a game, what a performance from the Stormers, to be able to stay in that game, and to go toe to toe Toulon away from home. That's one thing that I was happy
yeah.
about is that they said that they're going for it and they went for it. And they really did make a good attempt at trying to make it through to the next round. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. But I think just this, they'll take a lot from this, especially going into the rest of the URC. They'll
Yeah.
take a lot from this, and I think you'd hope for them, they'll be able to sort of start stacking up the URC results, because that's the only focus right now.
Yeah, and you talk about going for it. Part of them going for it was the squad that they have. They rotated, but it wasn't a weaker rotation.
Mm, mm,
You know what I mean? It was just I understand, Sasha on the bench. You've got Mattia there.
yeah,
I saw someone say Mattia's a better fly half, but Sasha's a better player. It's one of those where Mattia's kind of like more of your typical uh pivot, if you will, where
yeah,
Sasha's
yeah,
more of a
yeah,
maverick. I mean, those comparisons or whatever, it's a loaded statement, but I think Matthias stood up as one of those players that came in. You've got a guy like Ollie Cable also, who
yes,
was rotated in. He was strong there. And yeah, we had Willemse back on the wing, and then that bench when they came in, it's just a very strong pool of players, and they really put their hands up. Like we
yeah,
say, it's not a refereeing podcast, but you look at big moments. Nkunu, I thought that was a try for him.
yes,
I also thought that
yeah.
was a try for him.
Also,
Then you've
also
you've
too.
got the big moments that were taking a lot of the coverage was the potential penalty try, which they just gave a yellow card and they
Mm,
gave the penalty, but it should have been a penalty try.
yeah, yeah.
And then you
You
look at
see,
other things there. Manonu, I thought that was a red card.
red
I
card
mean, it would have made no
is always
difference.
upright,
It would have made no difference in terms of him being off the field because there was less than 10 minutes left. But it's still a
but
refereeing decision where I'm like,
yes,
this is a red
yes,
card. Besides
yes.
that, you've got when that guy hits Ollie Cable in the face, and then the referee is saying like, yeah, he just like brushed him on the face. There's nothing in it. And I would like you said it's a gentle. You called it a gentle shot. What is a
Imagine,
gentle?
what's a gentle shot in rugby? Is there ever such a thing as a gentle shot in rugby? Because there's intent every single time. Because guys are trying to do things for their team. So it overall the
Yeah,
whole we're not saying that. How do I put this? We're not saying that had those decisions gone the other way, maybe the result would have been different. But all I'm saying is that okay,
I am.
potentially yes, it could have been. Potentially yes, it could have been right. But all I'm saying is that and it's what we've always been saying. If the rules are a certain way for a particular team, they have to be a certain way for the other team. It has to be
Yeah,
fairly, fairly judged. And let's be honest. When our teams are over there on that side, we're not getting, we don't get, and we can't say it's the rub of
yeah.
the green. I don't even want to even say that
It's
the rub of the
competition
green. That's
heritage.
yeah,
It's
that's
competition
what it
heritage.
is.
It that's it. We are
Yeah,
not established enough in the competition to be getting those kind of decisions.
yeah. And but look,
Yeah,
this weekend watching, right? Even with the Bulls game, but even the Stormers game, it was what I couldn't help but think was, wait until the South African team start getting it right in Europe.
mm,
Once we figured out that puzzle, and we win like maybe two, it's going to be very very difficult for the other teams now to live with us because everybody everybody thinks that, oh no, because our franchises, are not necessarily doing so well in Europe, whatever, our
Yeah,
rugby's and not everybody. I'm talking about the guys that are overseas. I've seen a few comments and things like that where guys are saying, yeah, South Africa's best team can't beat whatever, whatever. But look, at the end of the day, it's those kind of decisions that they do affect the results. They do have an impact on what the outcome of the game is, and it's really unfortunate because it leaves a bad taste in the mouth because Stormers deserve to win that game. Let me put it
yeah,
that way. Stormers. I'm not a Stormers fan. I'm for South Africa, but Stormers deserve to win that game.
yeah,
Finish it, club.
yeah.
That's
I,
what it was.
I agree. And even for me watching, sometimes it's one of those things where you're not watching a team that you support. I was watching
Mm.
that game as a spectator.
Yes.
I was in it. I was in it. And
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
the last thing, just to go back to that last decision, like we say in our refereeing podcast, but there was a guy rolling away that was offside.
Offside. Thank
But
you. He was
he
offside.
said he's not influencing play.
No,
Then
but offside
there's
is
that,
offside.
but it goes
We've
back to the
seen
gentle
offsides
shot. It
being
goes
called.
back to the gentle shot
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
these things, it's, and then besides that, then you've got that player who now allegedly holds up the ball, with his placing, and that now goes into verse 3, chapter 2 of refereeing.
Yeah.
Like it goes into that deep thing. So I'm not even well equipped to
Yeah.
go into that kind of thing. But I think the initial decision to say uh it's held up, is there any evidence that you can put to overturn that? I would have thought it would have
Yeah.
been the other round where it's like try scored. Is
Yeah.
there any evidence against the try being scored?
against against the try being scored. You see, so it's those things, and it's not like the look. I'm not leveling any accusations, but it's not like the
Yeah.
referee doesn't know. They don't know what they're asking and what it means if they ask the different questions. They know
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I know.
He knew exactly what outcome he wanted. By asking that question by saying that no, my on-field decision is held up. Do you have evidence to the contrary? In situations like that, typically it's usually a try, and the referees will say,
Yeah,
no, look, I didn't see, or besides, I didn't see. Usually they'll award it because of the momentum that
yeah,
the attacking team had, and then the TMO will come back and say, no, but it was held up. Over
yeah,
there, you couldn't even see that it was clearly held up. You know what I mean? So the referee escapes, criticism because of the way that you asked the question. And then it looks like, no, it was a 50-50. But fact of the matter
mm,
is the Stormers were shafted. They were shafted, royally shafted on the
yeah.
weekend. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
After such a good game, it was a great game of rugby, back and forth. Toulon coming back there in the end, taking the lead. Stormers fighting back, the fight in the Stormers. Even some of the young guns coming off the bench, you saw there was a bit of fire in even Zachary Porton. He was highly highly revved up as well. You know, guys, it was Imad Khan the way he was controlling things when he came on as well.
mm.
There's so many good things that you can see. Okay, they're going in the right direction, but they were shafted. They were.
Yeah. Just to talk moments in the game, I think for them, you talked about Portland. There was times where he was actually a bit lucky coming on there with the scrums where he got the rub of the green. Um, but I mean, I think he owns Mchunu a few beers because
Yeah.
Mchunu did him a few favors there. But I mean, gradually he got back into the game.
Yes.
Um, Stormers did well, I think, early to weather the storm from Toulon, and then good defense from them. Just disappointing that it kind of came from I think it was a restart or goal line drop that they conceded.
Yeah.
But Audrey Smith also, they were living off scraps. There was something like
As
that
well.
2% in opposition 22, and it
Mm.
was something like 14-13 at that point. Living off of
Yeah.
scraps, doing good to obviously still be in it at that point. Audrey Smith, peak performance from him,
Big game.
big
Yeah.
game from him. Reinach there with the box kick, get the ball back, puts him through. Yeah, I mean, then you've got it's the moments for me also where you see like the Bok guys come to the party. Willemse almost with that game breaking moment on the wing there. You had
Yeah. But it
Sasha
was
also.
it you talking about the one that just before half time, eh?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Mm.
then, I mean, then besides that, you got Sasha coming on, and I mean him
Making a
doing his
difference.
with that chip through, and then also
Yeah,
that try where he had those
that
moments
try.
here.
Yeah, so I mean, like that's the thing is that it looks like, and that's why for me, if I was a Stormers fan, I'd feel highly aggrieved
Mm,
by the outcome of the weekend. If the European Rugby Championship was run like CAF, they could review the results maybe in a few months, in a few months, and say, no, look, the Stormers needed to deserve to win that one, but look, it was not to be, and such is sports, such is rugby,
yeah.
but it's distasteful, especially when guys have gone overseas, away from home,
Mm,
to go do that, in a hostile environment. You're living off scraps, um, and yeah, you've got everything against you,
yeah.
but a good showing from the Stormers, and I think they also got it right from a selection perspective,
Yes.
compared
Yes.
to the previous game. Although quarters, I'll still say I understand. You want to have all your playmakers on there. I still don't like Willems on the wing because I don't think he then gets as involved. You know, Rather
Yeah.
let Haaland do
Yeah.
the work
Yeah.
off of the wing. Because you can. He's played there before. You can have Haaland on the wing. Let Haaland work. For the ball. Keep your Springbok fullback, the incumbent at fullback.
I had it the other way around. I had the same thought process as you, where I said Williamson needs to be moved closer to the ball. I thought at the 12
Mm.
position, you need to bring him in at
Even
12.
there,
In that
yeah,
second half where it's now do or die, now or never.
yeah, he needed
I
to have
I, I
hands on the
really
ball.
I really felt like he should have been moved closer to the ball at 12. And then I mean
Yeah,
Similani came on. Similani can just go to the wing or
go to the wing. Yeah,
however.
because even he wasn't as effective. When he came on. To be honest, for me, that's a similar line. You
It
know,
was okay
Eh,
for but I mean they've got those options. I mean
yeah,
even
yeah,
Nell can also go to the wing. There's
you
there's
can
a
go to the
number of
wing.
them that can go to the wing.
Yeah,
So that's one
yeah,
of the things I also have is that Willemse needed to move to 12 at
mm,
that point, and I felt like the impact that Sasha was having, Willemse could have had that same kind of impact had he been
yeah.
closer to the ball. Other thing I've got here, like I said, Mattia, he was really letting that ball go.
I
He's
know he
got a
was.
nice he's got a nice pass, nice distribution,
He was.
and also Galant. I like Galant at 15. He was also having a go
Look,
there.
I'm not saying he had a bad game.
Yeah.
Haaland has been sizzling. The thing is, Haaland, I don't know, maybe he's calmer now with the guys, in
Mm,
the guys that he's playing with, in the back three, where he's not doing circus tricks all the time, but
mm,
with ball in hand. And I mean, we spoke about it last week to say when he's on, he's on and can hurt teams, and we saw that.
yeah.
How he is joining the line, beating defenders, putting guys into space, carrying that forward momentum. So look, good enough at 15, but I don't like.
Yeah.
My main thing is that Willem said four at wing doesn't work for me. I don't. That guy
Yeah.
doesn't need to be on the wing. He doesn't, not at all.
Yeah.
Take Dan
Lastly,
Duplessis
from
off, put him at 12, put
yeah.
the Willems at 12. At some point, that's the thing. At some point, tough decisions need to be made. Yes,
Mm,
guys can be, sons of legends and nephews of legends and whatever, but at some point, you need
yeah.
to you need to make a tough decision to say, okay, what is it that you want to achieve? And if you wanna go deep, you wanna win this thing, URC now being the focus, then Willemse won't work on the wing.
Yeah, just final thing there. I think guys to mention. I think Reinhardt had a really good game. Kebble,
Yeah.
Audrey Smith, big standout there,
Yes.
big standout there. And it's that kind of performance where I was talking about last week, where it's like that's a Springbok performance from a guy that's not a Bok, and that's what
Yeah.
takes you far in club competition. Is those guys in
Yeah.
and around that level, and then he goes off, and then you bring on someone of similar caliber. So
Yeah.
it's just one of the things that they have. Fushia as well. I felt like he also had a very, very, very strong game.
Yes.
Moving on. I think let's go. Warriors versus Bulls. The Warriors, I'm starting to gain a disdain for this team, and I really don't like these guys. I really don't like the
No, I don't
Warriors.
like them. Hey, I don't even like their captain. Is it the number 12? I don't like. I don't.
I
I
like
don't look.
him. I
Look,
don't.
I like him, but I've
Yeah,
got a love-hate thing with him. Because I like that he's always G'd up, but
yeah.
he just the tactics that the Warriors employ. They're very, very suspect.
I
Let's
don't
be
like them.
honest.
I don't like their weather. I don't like their synthetic pitch. I don't like how they always beat us in knockouts. It seems like
Yeah.
once they've just got the thing over us in knockouts, especially at their ground. And
Yes.
then you've got that weather where it's just pouring. And one of the comments that came from Uckers was that, execution let us down. Execution's gonna let you down when the weather is like that. So I can't
Yeah.
be too hard on them, kind of like in that aspect. One of the other things he did mention was discipline. Yes, there I can fully agree in that
Yeah.
for kind of like the first half of the first half, Warriors were the ones
Yes.
that were ill disciplined. Then it kind of swung at some point, and then the Bulls were the ones infringing. Besides that, I think he also mentioned that Pollard and Foster were sick, and that it was like they didn't know whether they were
Why are
gonna
you
play or
playing them?
not.
Why are you playing them? The guys are sick. Must give them sick leave. How? Because now after the fact, you're saying no, man. My guys were also sick. They
Now
weren't
I'm just giving
100%.
the full picture. I'm just giving the full picture.
No, but
I
I
think
understand. But no, no,
I
no.
think Pollard was also playing like he was a bit dizzy there. I think at
No, he
times
didn't
some
want.
of the things.
I think somebody read into him. There one time it was just like, nah, fam, it's cold out here. It's really.
Yeah, besides,
But credit to Glasgow because they didn't give the Bulls obviously because of the conditions, but they didn't give the Bulls the opportunities that they're so used to. You know what I think the main part of their game is based on is opposition giving them counter-attacking opportunities. They're very
yeah,
few and far between in
true.
terms of those opportunities that the Bulls got. And look, at the end of the day, it just seems like Glasgow as well. They had a plan, and they're always going to play with that tempo at home. They know the
Yeah,
conditions, they're used to it. They're always going to bring that tempo, and I think that's where at times where the Bulls fell off. They couldn't match that tempo from or stop that tempo from a
yeah.
defensive point of view. Because at one stage there's a time where guys look like they're going back. Next thing, boom. They they threw behind the Bulls defense. They're scrambling. So it's when you look at it as a whole, it's those things that sort of cost the Bulls. At
Yeah.
the end, I mean, 4 points in it, and it wasn't really, and it wasn't about the tries and whatnot. It's just that they weren't able to create as much as Glasgow, but they hung in there, by trying to play to be direct, to
Three
try and
minutes
build the
left, it was
momentum.
22 versus 21, 22 to
Yes,
21. So
yeah,
three minutes in,
they
we've
were they
got
were
a
right in it.
chance, but
Yeah,
then guess what happens? Restarts and
yeah,
kickoffs,
yeah,
which that was the Achilles heel throughout the whole game, is
yeah.
restarts and kickoffs. So that was one of the things that, it was an enemy of progress. It was something that worked against them the whole
Mm,
game. Letting the ball bounce, and then it's just a mess, and it's very. I think that's also a thing where teams must be very careful about taking the 3 points, because then you take the 3 points and then you put yourself under pressure. You can't exit and you
yeah,
concede seven.
yes.
That's a growing trend in rugby. I saw a video.
Yeah,
I saw a video on it not long ago where it's like teams are going more for the seven because once you get that three and you can't exit.
yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. And I think the Bulls did miss a trick there because there was opportunity to keep Glasgow under pressure in their own half. It begs the question, did they back their set piece enough? Or did they feel that they weren't they weren't as sort of dominant physically, and it started early on actually quarters. It started early
Yeah.
on in the game where the Bulls had them under pressure. Yeah, granted, it was in front of the sticks and things like that, but you had them under the pump. You had them
Yeah, you have
infringing.
to turn the screw.
Sometimes turn the screw because it's still early on. Give
Yeah.
yourself that opportunity to say to try and wrestle that momentum and shut up the home crowd. Because I think especially the European teams, the key thing, and it's what the Stormers is sort of were good at, up until now, is shutting up the home crowd,
Yeah.
by just blitzing them. But the Bulls quarters, the
Yeah.
Bulls are also in that transition, and for a
Yeah.
team being in that transition that they're in, you can't fault them for the effort, number one, considering the conditions and everything like that,
Yeah.
and the result, so close but yet so far, although it was boring.
Yeah, very boring. Like I said, I hate that stadium. I hate the pitch. I hate the blue kit. I hate how it looks on TV. I hate how
Stuff Glasgow, man. We hate
they
Glasgow, bro.
they also go they don't go for three. They go
Mm,
for line
they,
every single time, and once they kick for that corner and get it in your
yeah,
22, more often than not, they're either going to
yeah,
get another penalty from there or they're going to score.
yeah, yeah.
And it's automatic. It's just a thing that they always do. You know it's coming, but the only way you can play against it is if you don't give away penalties, which unfortunately the
The
Bulls gave away
discipline of the
penalties.
Bulls is,
Then the other thing is they test you with their running game, which is where we
yeah,
saw that try with the inside ball, the dog leg,
yeah,
where you're not
yeah,
reloading on the pillar
yeah,
enough. So they're gonna
yeah.
test you with the running game, and then once they get the penalty and they put it into their corner, it's a wrap.
Yeah,
So
they
I
bring that
mean,
intensity. They lift the next gear, especially when they're in
yeah.
that 22, you know. And look,
So
it's part of their DNA, and
yeah,
also it's almost like Glasgow is a bit of a bogey team for the Bulls, There's that
for
there's
all
that
of
thing.
for
Yeah,
the
for the
Bulls,
South African
yes.
teams.
For the
But
Bulls, yes, in particular, but South African teams as well,
yes,
as a
yeah.
whole. Uh, yeah, I think also had one or two refereeing decisions here also.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Let
yeah,
us I also saw a thing where somebody held the still, and I couldn't help. The thing is, because in real time you can miss certain things, But you ask yourself, what's the job of the TMO? Is the job
yeah,
of the TMO only to look at what the South African teams are doing, or is it to look at what everybody is doing on the field? Because that's also, there's some tactics where they're very questionable, in terms of once they've got the momentum, once they're going forward. Even there's so many things that are being missed, guys cleaning in from the side. There's so much. This past weekend, there was so much that was missed, especially those two games, the Bulls and the Stormers. Guys cleaning from the side, illegal entries. There's so much illegal activity happening at the
mm,
breakdowns that the referees are letting go. So, yeah, but like I say, the Bulls, yes, they'll feel hard done by, but for a team in the transition that they're in, they really did they gave it a good go. They did.
yeah.
It's just unfortunate.
Moving on, Connacht versus
Yeah,
Sharks
yeah,
in
yeah.
the
Look,
Europa. This team was
uh,
more of a mix of a team more rotated.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I think entertainment value also it wasn't very high on entertainment
Hey,
value.
man, it was a
Uh,
tough Friday.
yeah, very very tough Friday. I think also the Sharks they took the wind in the first half, and
Mm,
in places like Galway, you have to build up that lead for the second half.
yeah,
You can't just be winning marginally at halftime and think that it's you're going to continue playing.
that
The
it's
wind is a
enough. It's
real
not.
factor. And
Yeah.
also in this game, you've got a thing where they're like, yeah, John Smith having a great first half because you kicked the penalties. That to
Yes.
me is not the measure of a great first half. It's just that okay, you're great from kicking, but like going for three is not going to move the needle, especially in knockouts, and
Yes.
especially when
Especially.
you're playing with the wind that you're not going to have in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
It,
It's just if for me, if I have to sum it up, just to say that what was so and was so entertaining about the Stormers game was there was imaginative attack
yes,
and good defense. In this game, there was just good defense from Connacht, and there was no imagination from the Sharks. When I look
yeah,
at number 9 through to 13, you have to give me more. You have to
yes.
create.
No, for sure, for sure. They were the backline. The backline was so stale. I think watching that on Friday, I couldn't help but think Ross Brody is trying too much. As in, I think I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's not a bad player. He's
Mm,
definitely not a bad player. He's an impactful player. He can have that impact. He can make a difference for your team. But for me, he's just trying too much by himself.
yeah.
There was just a little bit of that element, and then everybody else was just there, not contributing. Um, to to the overall. It looked like, let me put it this way, it looked like it was another club team, where we got together to say, okay, guys, let's jam, because
Mm,
you lost sort of what the Sharks were trying to build on. Yes, the physical edge is there, a bit of the intensity is there, but you lost that whole
yes.
thing that you've been trying to build on. And that's the result that you're going to get because, like you said, no creativity at all. Ball 13 channel, the ball didn't move past the 13 channel. You know, so at some point as well, you have to say, look, the decision making. But alas, quarters, because I've been saying, I did say it to the Sharks. I don't see them. Didn't see them
Mm,
winning that one on Friday. Um, Fact finding, for the coach to understand who he can rely on, who can hang and who cannot hang. With the Sharks, it's all about next season.
yeah.
It's all about next season. Honestly speaking, because the more you're going to talk about the Sharks, the more you're going to realize that there's so many issues that they have, even from a personnel perspective. And as much
Exactly.
as yes, they've righted the ship in some aspects in the URC, they're still not there, and there's still, how can I say, there's still a lack of clarity in how
Yeah.
they're going to go about becoming the team that they want to
Mm,
be, and competing, and winning games, especially away from home. You
mm.
can't do that in Connacht. Here you are busy kicking through. You can't. You're not going to win. You're not.
The more things change, the more they stay the same because
Yes,
it just went to bad habits. Uh, that defensive structure that we were seeing being
yes,
caught
got
out.
exposed again.
This looked like a plum performance where that's
Yeah,
defensive structure. We saw it again, and then we saw issues
yeah,
around ball security, which is what
yes, ooh,
things that come from plum era. So
yeah,
it really looked like a plum performance, a regression. Only people that I can say had a good game, the back three. I think they were good in the air and when they
amen,
got a
yeah,
chance. But besides that, and Ox at scrum time, he was eating.
yes.
But besides that, it's unimaginative, and
And
it's
the guys
it's
looked unsure. The guys looked unsure. There were certain moments, even saw it, where the guys were just they didn't know what to do. Your scrummies in the breakdown. Guys are not sure what to do. Nobody's playing the ball. There's so much uncertainty.
yeah.
And it's really, it is concerning. Um, but at the same time, like I said, I'm not gonna. Can I say this? I'm not gonna. I'm not. I'm not. I don't have too much of high expectations of the Sharks for the rest of the season. I'm looking at them for next season. It's better
Mm.
for Sharks fans. If you want to make your life easy, no stress, just enjoy and just think about next season to say, okay, we will judge this group, this team, the
Yeah,
coach and his staff, once he's got the setup that he wants in next season with the full
yeah,
preseason. Because right now it's that up and down that we spoke about, I think a few weeks ago, about consistency. They'll do good 2 weeks in a row, 1 week in 1 week, where you'll think, okay, and then back to old habits. So yeah,
yeah. And
the less said.
overall, I think it's just South African sides. Besides the Stormers, is that thing of like we spoke last week, saying that a number of those results, had they been away, they wouldn't have been the same result.
Yes,
We saw this week that when we do play
thank you.
away,
Yeah,
it's not the same. And we
it's not the
also,
same.
I mean, even for us, maybe if this was second week, where guys are acclimatized and they think
Yes,
then
maybe it's a
possibly.
different.
But this is not that type of competition. This is knockout, and
Mm,
this is what we asked for to be playing in Europe.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we just gonna have to adjust accordingly. Uh,
yeah,
and I think if the Stormers had won and the Bulls had won, I think they were playing each other, which then guaranteed a South African in the next round, if I'm
yeah,
not mistaken.
yes.
So I mean, it didn't turn out like that, but
Look, we're
we
getting
move on.
closer. We're gonna get closer. We're gonna get closer. I think the South African fan base, we need to just keep calm, especially in the
Yeah,
European competition. We're gonna get closer. And once we figure out this puzzle, the rest of those guys, they must be very careful because
yeah,
then we should definitely monopolize it just for the sake that they talk too much. You know?
yeah. That Toulon game was it was. I think personally, it's a classic for us. Even if it's
Yeah.
not a classic for them, it's a classic for
Yes.
us. I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
one of the best European games
It
for of the
was.
South African side that I've seen, and I was thoroughly. It's one of those where
Especially
you
away
know
from home.
yeah, when I don't believe in moral victories, but it was a moral victory.
To say no, rugby won at the end of the day. Eh? Rugby
Yeah,
won.
yeah. So any
But
closing remarks? We've got URC a
look,
bit of a break and then back
it's a
into
bit of a
things.
break now. Look, the Sharks got to go look at themselves very, very hard. In the mirror.
Mm,
Yeah, they need to sort it out. And guys, tough decisions must be made. Eh? Guys must go. If guys need to
mm,
go, guys must be let go. And yeah, the Bulls are coming. Bulls they going in the right trajectory. Stormers
yeah,
unlucky. But look, alas, quarters.
yeah,
Such is rugby, bro. Such is rugby, man.
yeah. No, I'd enjoy the Stormers more if it wasn't for their fan base. But yeah, I think that's it for us, guys. That's
Yeah.
watching.